Now, first things first is we need to realize what the shape is. In this case, we have a rectangle. Now, how do we know it's a rectangle? Well, we have a breadth, which would be the width, which is 15 centimeters. We also have a height, which is in this case 8 centimeters. And we have only right angles, so each of these is a right angle. And that would tell us that we have a rectangle. So a rectangle has a breadth and a width, and only right angles. And also two sides which are equal. These two sides are equal. And then the ones on the other side, these two sides are equal. This is an example of a rectangle. Right, so what we do is we have to know the area for a rectangle. In this case, we have area equals breadth times height. So this would be the area of a rectangle. In this case, we can solve this rectangle because we have all of these given. So the breadth would be, in this case, 15 centimeters, which would be this value right here. And then we times that by our height, which is in this case is 8 centimeters. This is this value right there. All we have to do, the last step, would be put both of those in our calculator. So we have 15 times 8, and that gives us 120. But now, so 120 is 15 times 8. We also have to times the centimeter by centimeter. So centimeter times centimeter is centimeter squared. So the result for this is 120 centimeters squared. First things first, we have to realize what kind of shape this is. In this case, we have a triangle. And the way we know that is, obviously it has 3 sides. Tri means 3. We have got 3 sides and 3 angles. And that's a triangle. So next thing is we need to know the formula for a triangle. In this case, it's area equals half times breadth times height. This is the area of a triangle, and in this case we can calculate all that. So obviously we have already half given, we don't have to figure that out, but we can also get the breadth. Breadth in this case is going to be 4 centimeters, so we times that by 4 centimeters because that's the breadth, and then we times that by the height, and the height is also given, so the height would be 3 centimeters, so times that by 3 centimeters. Now, if we put that all in the calculator, we get the actual answer. So in this case, all we have to do is we have to do half times 4 times 3, and that gets you 6. So 6, but then also we have to times the centimeter by centimeter, and centimeter by centimeter is centimeter squared. So the result for this one would be 6 centimeters squared. That's our area for this triangle. First, we have to recognize what kind of shape this is. In this case, it's called a parallelogram. Looks very similar to an actual rectangle. Only difference is that all angles are 90 degrees, and that means we can't use exact same formulas. But in this case, it actually looks very similar. But so its area equals breadth times height. That's the formula. But in this case, the actual height is just a bit different. So we have the breadth, which is the same. In this case, breadth is 8 centimeters. So if we put on area equals 8 centimeters, that's our breadth. But the height for a rectangle, which would have been this side here, that would be our height. In this case, we basically draw a diagonal through the actual parallelogram, and that would be our height for a parallelogram. So it's just very similar formula, but how we get our area is slightly different. But now we already have the last stage, we just have to add those two numbers together. So 8 times 5 would be 40. But remember, we also have to do centimeter times centimeter, so it would be 40 square centimeter. In that case, this is our result. We have 40 square centimeter is the area of this parallelogram. First, we have to realize what kind of shape this is. In this case, we have the trapezium. And the way we know that would be that we have two sides which are parallel. So the top and the bottom side, these two are parallel. Now, next thing is we have to figure out what the actual area is for this. What we have is we have the height times side A plus B. And I'll go over what these different sides are. So we have all of them given in this actual diagram. We have area equals height. So height will be this value right here. It's the diagonal from side A through to side B. So this is area is, the height is 6 meters. And then we're going to times that by side A, and we can choose either of those. So those two sides which are parallel, one of them is going to be A, the other one's going to be B. It doesn't matter which one's A or B, but let's say A is 7, the top one. Let's use that as A. And then we say B is going to be the bottom one. B is 11. So now we basically have everything plotted in, and all we have to do is figure it out. But remember, we have to do brackets first. So it's going to read 6 meters times, and then we fill out the brackets. So 7 plus 11 is 18. So 6 times 18 meters. And last step is we're just going to calculate 6 times 18 in the calculator. And remember, we're also going to do meters times meters, but 6 times 18 is 108. And then meters times meters would be square meters. So the result for this would be 108 square meters. And for this question, you first have to realize we actually have a kite. So this shape is a kite. And with a kite, we need to know the two diagonals. So one diagonal is going to be like this, and the other diagonal is going to be like this. Diagonals just cross the actual shape. And to get the actual correct answer, what we do is the area of a kite is half times, let's call it x. And in this case, x was the diagonal here in black, times y, and let's call this diagonal here y. So to get the actual area of a triangle, we have to times the diagonal x and by the diagonal y, and then times that by half. So what I mean by that is, in this case, for this kite, the area would be half times, and then in this case we have the diagonal black would be 8 centimeters, and then the one in red would be times 6 centimeters, and then we put that in our calculator, and that would give us, so half times 8 times 6 is 24. So in this case it's 24. Remember, it's going to be centimeters squared because we're timesing centimeter by centimeter as well, which makes it square centimeters. In this case, it's 24 square centimeters. We're just going to realize what kind of shape this is. In this case, we have a circle, and a circle has a formula A for area equals pi, which is just a number which is always going to be consistent, times radius squared. And radius squared, so if you look at the whole, if we put a line through a circle from the longest to the longest end, that's going to be a diagonal, and then half of that is going to be a radius. In this case, the radius is going to be 7 centimeters, because half the diagonal. So we have, in this case, we have everything we need to have to get the area, so it's pi times 7 centimeters squared. And all we have to do now is we have to put that in our calculator. I'll just quickly calculate what 7 squared is first. 7 squared would be 49. So 49. And centimeters squared would be square centimeters. So now if we put in our calculator 49 times pi, we will get the last bit, which is, in this case, 153.9. I'm just going to round it up to 154. I'm going to round it up. And remember, it's square centimeters, so in this case, the area of this circle is 154 square centimeters. We just need to realize that we need to have the pi, which is the number is going to be always the same as on your calculator, and r to be able to get the area. And r was 7 centimeters for this question.